Welcome back to Talking Hoops with Sloot. This week we have a special guest and everyone's favorite, Carter Schick. Carter, how are you?
I'm good. You don't need to say everyone's favorite.
But you are. Let's not get it twisted here. Okay, so to start off, I hope everybody knows, and they probably should, that you were on the golf team when you first got here, right? Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yep,
so
I was.
Can you talk us through that? So what made you choose Gonzaga and golf and all of that?
Well, Gonzaga was always my dream school to go to growing up, who didn't grow up watching the Gonzaga basketball teams. So, whenever people would ask the question, where would you want to go to school? I'd always say Gonzaga. Never thought I'd end up here, but I never, Mm-hmm. Anyways, so I got recruited to play different sports in high school, cross-country, basketball, and golf. And as soon as the opportunity came to play golf at Gonzaga, it was a no-brainer. And then I decided to come here. So yeah, that's how I came here on a golf scholarship.
Okay, and then you got here, started out playing golf, mm-hmm. realized that wasn't for you, and maybe not, you didn't necessarily quit golf to play basketball, but decided that basketball was an option for you. So what's the walk-on process after you decided that golf wasn't your choice?
The walk-on process was a little different for me than it was, or what I've heard from other people. Like Court said, I came here, and golf really wasn't for me. I don't really enjoy it competitively, and it was never my favorite sport. In high school, I did it just so I could get all three sports for all 4 years. I do enjoy golf, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy it. It's a great leisure activity, just not competitively. And, I think the coach kind of realized that and saw that I wasn't enjoying myself, wasn't having a good time in college, and it was kind of carrying over to the classroom and whatnot. So then I ended up quitting golf after about a semester, and then no intentions to try out for basketball whatsoever, but would just shoot around the gym a lot. I used that day court for all the athletes, of. And I remember one time I was shooting in there, and Coach Graves was on the bike, and he kind of asked me, hey, have you ever thought about just playing pickup with the girls? As soon as he asked me that, I kind of looked into it and started playing a couple times in their open gym. And, one thing led to another, started playing more. I believe it was Lisa then that asked me to start lifting with you guys. And then it just sort of came about.
Speaking of lifting, Carter's first time with us lifting, she decided that she was going to help me spot, what was it, I think a shoulder press. So her weight was above my head, and I asked this, this super shy at this time.
Yeah,
Didn't really talk, and asked her to spot me, and I come up and go to lift the thing up, and
I just sort of grab the dumbbells and kind of push him up, and Courtney's arm starts coming off, and it looks like she's about to dislocate her arm, and all of a sudden she drops it, and
about killed me is what she did.
It made the loudest noise in the gym, and everyone was staring, and of course,
she turned about this red.
And of course, no one knew me. I was really shy. I probably hadn't said more than 3 words to people, and already I'm hurting freaking the point guard. And yeah, so it wasn't a good first impression on my behalf, but I think we turned out okay.
We did. Okay, and so Lisa ultimately told you that you were going to have a chance to have a spot on the roster, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, and then you decided to spend the summer here working camps and summer school. And did that help you kind of mesh with the team a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Lisa told me about 3 weeks left of school that I'd have an opportunity to play on the team. But it was probably a good idea for me to work camps and do summer workouts with everyone and start to get to know the team. And, as soon as the opportunity itself to play Gonzaga basketball presented itself, I was going to do anything. And spending the summer playing basketball, especially with, a great group of girls, it was, like I said, a no-brainer.
Okay, and so now it comes into the first year, fall season, and we have our first practice, right? How did that go? What were you thinking? Everything about your first official practice.
Well, I remember we got our gear, and so that was at Christmas. I remember coming into the locker room every day, and there was new shoes and new shorts. I remember being so like amped about the practice gear and stuff, and I remember AB kind of looking at me like, it's just a jersey. So I ended up, they gave us the gear, and I took the undershirts home. Remember that we got the white undershirts? Because I thought they were just given to us. So the first practice came about, and everyone was wearing their white undershirts. Well, I didn't have mine. So already I'm like, oh my god, like, what do I do? You know, freaking out. So I finally, you know, rummage up one. And then everyone's saying, like, Carter, why aren't you taped yet? I didn't know I had to get taped. You know, I've never taped in high school. I never wore braces. So Steve then is taping me, and it's like 5 minutes before practice starts. And we get up there, or we ended up having to practice in the day court that day for some scheduling reason. And we learned our ever so favorite drill. What's it called? It's a scrambler. And you know, it's confusing for anyone, but you know how confusing it would be for me. So that was the first drill we learned, and I think we all have experienced our first practice with Coach Graves, and he doesn't tell you how to do anything. It's basically get in line, you watch a couple people ahead of you, and you learn. You know, we have no time to explain any drills. And so I was kind of thrown into the mix pretty fast, as everyone else, so no excuse. But I remember it was very overwhelming, but, you know, at the same time, just like one experience too, so.
Okay, and so a couple months or a couple weeks later, thrown into your first game, what was that like?
Yeah.
To come all the way this way and then finally be out there on the floor for the first time, like what's going through your head, your emotions, your everything?
I remember being extremely nervous, even just to like warm up in front of people, like to have like thousands of fans just even watching me shoot the basket. I remember we ran out at the, you know, when we come out at the 6-minute mark or something, and then I was so pumped up, and I stopped at the 3-point line, pulled up for a three, and airballed it, and it was so embarrassing. And you know, the game hadn't even started yet, but just so many emotions going on. How exciting is this? You know, my parents are in the stands. You know, it was just awesome. I remember.
Okay, and so now, after your first practice, after your first game, you're 3 years later, and so what kind of role have you developed, and what do you think you are to this team?
You know, it's funny because people always like tell me, you know, you're the emotional leader, and people call it the cheerleader and stuff, although I don't really like the term cheerleader. I am not wearing the skirts, I'm not wearing the midriff shirts, ergo I'm not a cheerleader. But, you know, people always ask, you know, like, or tell me, like, you're like the crazy one on the team, but honestly, like, I don't know exactly what I'm doing, and it's so easy for me to go out and root for my teammates because they're my family. You know, like, I want to see you do well. I want to see Kayla and Shannon and Kel do well, everyone. So when they make a great play, it's not like I'm doing something, you know, because I'm so quote-unquote
supposed to be.
Yeah, that person. It's just how exciting is it that, you know, my family and my best friends are, you know, succeeding. So, I mean, that's how, you know.
You look at it? Okay, so do you think that, in your eyes, do you think that there's a difference between walk-on and scholarship players, or, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a lot of money. That's a difference. You know, when you guys are going to get your checks, you know, and, you know, hey, Eric, got a check for me yet? But, it's so... there is a difference between walk-ons and scholarship players. I mean, just the fact of the matter, there is. Playing time is a lot different, although it doesn't have to be, you know, if you earn your spot and whatnot. But also, I mean, I'm at a point in my life where I've stopped kind of thinking myself as a walk-on and stuff, but that might not be good, you know. But
you're just as much a part of the team.
And you know, and it's great being in a program that accepts everyone. You know, like I feel that maybe it's different in a different program. I mean, you know, I'm sure walk-ons are treated differently in other programs, but Gonzaga is such a family atmosphere that, you know, even if there is a difference between walk-ons and scholarship players, they haven't made me feel that way. So it's, you know, it's awesome.
Okay, so you've obviously are a big face of this program. A lot of people know you. You are somebody. So what would your biggest advice be to players out there that are going to choose the walk-on route?
I mean, I don't want to sound cliche, but literally it's just to not ever give up. I've always felt like if you want something bad enough, don't let anyone stop you. And, it's always going to sound so corny and whatnot. But, if someone's going to tell you your potential, I mean, how are you going to let someone? Because not even yourself knows your potential. So don't ever let someone tell you what you can and can't do. If you want something, go for it.
Okay, well, you heard it. I hope you guys enjoyed probably seeing a little bit different side of Carter. I haven't heard her say a lot of these things, so it's been real. I hope to see you next week.
Knuckle pucks.